Hi, this is Frederik from Climb, and today I'm going to show you our product S.P.O.T. S.P.O.T is a facility and route setting management platform that can be used by gym owners, managers, and route setters to get an overview of the full facility and also support the route setters in their everyday work and processes. S.P.O.T can be used both with and without performance tracking. Without performance tracking, it can be used for everyday route setting work, planning new sets, creating climbs, controlling the status of each climb in the work process. You can define tags, styles, difficulty, hold colors, and so on. Besides that, it can also be used to get the overview of the grade distribution in the gym and also the tag distribution to see if you have sufficient amount of grades, sufficient amount of climbs within each and every grade, and also that you have a really good variety across the whole gym in terms of styles, but also maybe overlapping in between grades or within a specific grade itself. With performance tracking, it simply works in the way that you have to set up a computer and some cameras in your gym, and then all climbs within the camera frame can be detected, and their performance data will be gathered in the system. The way that you can analyze it afterwards is that we both have like general statistics that show you how each and every climb in the gym performs in terms of attempts, success rate, amount of tops, or just activity time in general. We've made different analytics that can show you how the overall gym performs, how a specific wall performs, and also how specific climbs perform. What is also possible in the system is to go in and do general analytics. You'll be able to compare and filter within specific grades. You can see how the entry level of the climbs in the gym suits the climbers. So if you, for example, look at the climbs within grade 1, 2, and 3, you can see how many attempts, how many tops, what the success rate looks like, and what the activity time in total have been across all the different climbs. I think as route setters that we have a hard time actually understanding what is happening on the wall. Often after a route setting day, we stay in the gym for maybe half an hour or 60 minutes to watch all the climbers coming in to climb on the new set, how they actually perform on the wall. But aside from that, we just move on forward. We plan next week's set, and we don't really think too much about it anymore. The issue about this is that we only get this really narrow picture around like how the climbs we put on the wall actually perform. The thing about route setting is that we're not only putting climbs on the wall, we're actually shaping experience. We're shaping them for the climbers coming in the gym, and they have to get a good have to have a good time in the gym while they're there. Until now, there haven't really been a way in climbing to actually gather like quantitative masses of data, and with Climb Along S.P.O.T, that's actually possible now. We can use it to actually see how the climbs perform within a specific grade, see if we have some outliers where maybe like the success rate is too low in terms of what the business goals maybe are. A good example is if we want all new climbers to have a really good experience in the gym, we want the success rate within the first grades to be really, really high. That's where this tool comes in, and we can actually use it to gather a lot of this information and actually compare. So if we break it down, start looking here on the gym page, what we can see from here is the total attempts per hour and per day in the gym for all the climbs where we are detecting performance. Next is the grade distribution and the tag distribution. This is the place where we get the overview about all the grades and how they're distributed among all the climbs we have in the gym. And it's also a place where we can see how styles are separated onto all climbs and all difficulties. We could get an overview if we have a bias in a specific direction in terms of style, and if we have to get more diversity in terms of style, holds, and so on the climbs for the future. If we go into walls, we have the overview of all the walls in the gym. From here, you can also see which of the walls where we have spot detection. That's the one where the Climb Along logo is orange, and also the one where we don't have any spot detection. If we go to one of the walls with spot detection, we have the overview of all the climbs on the wall, both from a list, but also from the overview up here with the picture or the screenshot of all the climbs. Then we have the analytics page for the wall, where we can see total hourly attempts, daily attempts, hourly activity, and also the grade and tag distribution on this specific wall. Then if we go even further down, we can go into one specific climb here. We can see what name and what hold color have been defined for it, where it's located, what grade it has, what tags that's been used from the route setters on this climb, how rig is separated, and also if there's any notes, and if a route setter have put on expected success rate for tops or not. We also have some analytics for each specific climb. We both have attempts, clocks, tops, but we also have this life cycle of the climb, so we can actually see how it performs over time, and if there's like a certain date where it begins to lose activity. We also have daily attempts, hourly attempts, and activity for specific climbs too, so we can see how single climbs perform. Then we have the big archive. That's all the old climbs that have been on all the walls in the system. And why do we have that? That's because we can go into the analytics, and on the analytics page we can compare everything that ever had been set in the gym. So first of all, we just show everything that's active. We could also include archive climbs. By setting a date back in time, maybe last 3 months, we actually get the chance to see how both active and archive climbs are compared next to each other. We can also just look on all the current climbs in the gym and see how they perform, if they are above or underneath the average performance line. And we can start to look into how attempts differentiates from top, and how success rate looks for each of the climbs, and also how the activity time looks like. We can even go in and see how the activity is for certain grades and compare across the grades, and actually just filter as much as we want. Then we have the trend graph over here, where we can see how the climbs have developed in popularity over time within a specific grade or just in total. And we can also create like comparison datasets where we can compare one specific grade to another. So if we up here set it to 1, and if we down here set it to 2, and we just set it to all the walls within the same date range. So in this example, I have actually compared all the upper graded climbs to the lower graded climbs, intro climbs. And by that, we can actually see how the trends for each of the, and also the activity for each of the different distributions that are the most popular. So actually, maybe, as we could assume, there's been more activity in the intro climbs than on the upper level climbs. If we look on tops instead, we'll see that the amount of tops within the intro levels are also a lot higher than what it actually is for the higher level climbs. And if we look on success rate, we should see a similar pattern, that we have higher success rate within the lower graded climbs than the higher graded climbs. And again, if we look on activity time, we also have a lot more activity in the intro level climbs than on the higher level climbs. So first of all, when you start out with S.P.O.T, you have to, if you do it without performance tracking, you have to set up your gym. The way you do it is that you create your walls. After creating your walls, you can go into settings, and from here you can put all the information in about your gym. You can also define what type of grading system the routesetters use in your gym, what tag system and what kind of tags you would like to have within the gym, and also what specific hole colors you use in your gym. And by doing that, before inviting all the other routesetters in, you can create the baseline for what can be defined for each and every climb. By doing so, all the routesetters don't have to think about all the things that you don't use in your gym. So if you only use number grading, and if you only use rig and V grading, for example, you can tailor it and define it for your specific needs. The same goes for the tagging system. You can create new groups or new tags within a group. You can remove some, or you can just let everything be, so the routesetters can use all the predefined tags. From the route setting page, you can also create and plan new tasks. The way it works is simply that you just create a task. You can add a label. If it's the weekly set, you can add a date or a date range, and you can also assign all the routesetters needed for the task. You can give the task a name, a description, and then you select all the locations where you want to define new climbs for it. Then you can, for example, for my ring in here, add some new climbs, let's say 3. And then you can also choose to archive some of the existing climbs on the wall. And if we prepare the plan like this, so from the route setting page, we can, as head routesetters, create new tasks and plan out in the future. When we create a task, we can add labels to it. Date and time, we can add a date range or just a specific date for the task, and then we can assign routesetters. We can also give the task a name, a description, and then we can select all the walls where we want to define some new climbs that should be created on the start date of the planned task. So if we, for example, choose my ring as the wall, and then we can add 3 new climbs to it. From here, we can then define grade, tags, rig, node, success rate, and so on, already before the climb is created, so that it's ready for the routesetters for this specific task and this specific set. If we also want to archive the already existing climbs on the wall, we've made an automated flow for that, so you can just select whatever climbs you want to have archived on the start date of the event, and then in the end you just click create and schedule new task, and now you're good to go. When you've done that on the route setting day, on the start date and time of the event, all the planned archive climbs will automatically be archived from the wall, and all the new climbs will be created. From here, we can go into the specific wall where the new set is on, and then we can start to define specific climbs. If we go into a specific climb tile here, you can see that there's a lot of different stuff that you can define for the climb. We've made the status bar that you can use to control the status of the client as a part of the route setting process. So you can use it as a project management tool for the everyday route setting tool. Over here, you can also assign the route setters for the client. We've made it so that you can assign multiple route setters at once, because often we are multiple route setters creating a single client and not only one route setter. You can define the name for the client. You can give it a hold color. You can see the location or change the location of the client. You can give it a grade. You can define some of the style tags that you've enabled. You can define rig if you use that. Or you can also define a node if there's something specific that you want to define for the client. And also expected success rate for top. The expected success rate will also show in the analytics page, so you can compare what you hoped for with the success rate to how it actually performed on the wall. If we go to the client page here, we can do a bunch of different stuff. One of the things is that you can actually sort by, group by, and filter for all the existing climbs that we have in the gym right now. So for example, if we go in and sort by easiest to hardest, it will look like this, and you can get the overview from the easiest to hardest climbs. We can also group by number grade, for example, as they use in this gym. And then we will actually get the total amount of activity time and attempts for each of the specific climbs within the gym. We can also group by wall and see how each of the walls actually perform. Now we only have performance tracking on Paris and München, so that's the two only walls where we have any data on. But if we had cameras and computers on all walls in the gym, we would have the total performance of each and every wall. The interesting thing here is that we actually have almost twice the performance on Paris compared to München. It can be because of how old the set is. It can also be because we have 6 more climbs in Paris, or maybe just because the Paris section and part of the facility is more popular than München. Our task as route setters is to try to figure out, like, why is it like this? And it's because of what we've set on the wall, or is it something else? We also have the ability to filter on specific grades and see how that is grouped, or also if on specific statuses or tags. We can even go in and expand all to see all the climbs within each of the groupings, or collapse all to just get the overview of the performance.